Hola, video log. Hoy es 5 de mayo. It's nearly 6 de la mañana.
We're losing it. We've lost our minds, talking nonsense.
That's shrimp.
There's noises in the background that may or may not even exist in reality. Is it in your head? Is it not in your head? Is my bike making that noise? Sometimes you just have no idea what's going on. But the great thing was, whether we lost it or not, I think everyone was on the same page. So it felt like maybe we just found a new reality.
An adventure usually begins with the question where? Alaska, Antarctica, Timbuktu? But it's also possible to ask how and still find yourself strapped in for a wild ride. The idea to access big mountains on a bicycle loaded down with ski and camping gear was my way of asking, how can I have an adventure right out my back door? I would leave my house in Reno, Nevada, heading south on Highway 395 in search of good snow, fun times, and an end goal of reaching Mount Whitney, the tallest peak in the lower 48. I've been down this highway many times before, but never with fewer than 4 wheels. I knew my buddy Joel Oberly would be down to join me. He's been my go-to ski partner for years, and it only took the words bike and ski before he committed 100%. His comic relief and willingness to stay positive while suffering would surely come in handy.
I quit.
Next up, Nick Russell, who is leading the charge for the future generation of Sierra splitboarders. This winter, he spent more nights under the stars of the High Sierra than in his own bed. If anyone could guarantee motivation, it would be Nick.
Got our boards. Got a ton of potato chips, coconut water. We're gonna pedal to the moon, man.
Between the three of us, we had about zero bike knowledge, so it seemed pertinent to find a master. A local mechanic said,
"You should call Eric."
Eric Pollard is an encyclopedia of bike knowledge.
What you're gonna wanna do is put one behind the fork and one in front of the fork.
He loved the idea so much, he cleared his calendar for 2 weeks and rounded up all the bikes and gear we would need. With the crew sorted, bikes loaded, and total ignorance on our side, we hit the road.
As we left Reno, everybody was super excited, and I was super curious if everybody was prepared for the bike portion of the trip. One of my concerns was Washoe Valley. It's basically one of the windiest places on the West Coast, and we were going straight through the middle of it.
Wait for it.
Yeah, you can hear it come before it gets to you.
I think the wind's dying down a little bit.
Getting hit by 40-mile-an-hour winds on a 100-pound bike is just surely demoralizing. Surprising to see everybody behind me pushing forward and going on, but everybody was there and everybody wanted to keep going, so it was an awesome motivator.
The wind pushed us off route and into the oldest bar in Nevada.
Winnie.
Bodies and spirits demoralized, we gave in to the luxuries of a cold drink and a wall to hide behind. The locals were nice enough to share some beta on where to camp.
Probably couldn't be any less prepared for this trip than I am right now.
After accepting our fate, we slept easy, eager to try again the next day.
I would call this the annual pilgrimage, big game season for riding lines. You know, in the springtime, the weather down there is ideal. It's consistent, it's sunny. You can get on to steeper, more committing lines, and that's the time you want to go. Corn snow, the way of the east side. It's the second best thing to powder, basically. This is what we came here for. But it's such a fine line of being too early when it's still firm or being too late when it's borderline dangerous in terms of wet slides. And you kind of have to nail it.
Hike a few thousand vertical feet, and then the conditions were just like boilerplate ice. We skied it anyways. Was it worth it? Yeah.
Harsh reality, but more often than not, you kind of get skunked. Maybe you miss that window. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's a great sightseeing tour, and you just add about a dozen more peaks for your hit list.
Sitting just outside the boundary of Yosemite National Park lies the Dana Plateau, home home to some of the finest High Sierra steep skiing. Rising around 4,000 vertical feet from the shore of Mono Lake, this alpine cirque is littered with eye-catching chutes. The ease of access via Tioga Pass makes it a very popular zone, so we weren't surprised when we ran into a group of skiers eyeing the same terrain. If we had driven to the trailhead, we might have made an even match for first tracks. However, our tired legs forced us to ride their coattails.
It's the only bit of shade out of the oven. Joel's in the oven, currently cooking at about 425.
That said, even second tracks on such classic lines proved a worthy endeavor.
Hey buddy, how you feeling?
Good. Tired.
Max and I have been chasing lines down on the east side for some time now. When we rolled into Tioga, I knew he had his eyes on something big.
And we're looking at the gutter chute.
The gutter chute was by far the most extreme line on the trip. You drop into a 50-degree hanging snowfield over a 200-foot cliff. It's a no-fall zone for sure. After a few turns on this hanging snowfield, you have to make this mandatory traverse into the secondary chute that just sounded like pure ice when Max skied it.
You know, the mountain doesn't just give it up that easy. You gotta work for it. You gotta give it its respect and enter when the mountain will grant you passage. East side living is good living. Mm-hmm. Yeah, dude.
We left the Dana Plateau feeling accomplished, but totally destroyed. What we didn't realize at the time was that we were riding a delicate line between mind and body, between the desire to ride every line in sight and the reality that our bodies needed a break.
I've always been a believer in cold water therapy. Just does the body right.
Being pulled in both directions, we found ourselves lost in the middle. And it was here that things started to get weird.
Get in here, EP. Got a sleeping bag for you.
Biked pretty far uphill today. Now we're just gonna do a little bit more walking uphill, do some exploring.
It's a mine.
Coming at you live from the 395.
Do you want us to say something?
Sure, and then just pedal off.
Okay. Last night we rode from that way in. We went to the hot springs there. We slept there. And now we're going skiing there. We'll be there in no time.
Wake up late, eat breakfast, pack bike, eat more, ride back to trailhead, find a stream crossing, bushwhack for miles, pick worst route to top of ski lines, run out of water and food, ski best and longest corn run of your life. Bushwhack again, cross stream, find bike, collapse. Are we crazy? Yes, this is crazy. Food, more food, sleep. Pedaling through a haze of insanity, we arrived at the major milestone of our trip. Looking out over Owens River Valley and Bishop, California, we were hit with the realization that if we could reach Bishop, then surely we could make it to Mount Whitney. It wouldn't come easy, though. We would need to cover over 100 miles and almost 8,000 feet of elevation loss and gain just to reach Whitney Portal. From there, we would still have to climb over 6,000 feet to the summit. Not only that, but a storm was brewing. With grit and dumb luck on our side, we decided to go for it. Left with the simple task of getting from A to B and thoughts of skiing subdued, we found room for a new headspace.
On the side of the road, 295, like we are. Always are. We love it out here.
Feeling alone on this major highway, despite cars blazing by at 75 miles per hour, we entered a new reality in which life on the road became more clear. Setbacks such as flat tires, rain and wind, or deciding where to camp, less stressful.
There's another thorn. Here's two. Two more. Oh, all right.
Upon late night arrival, we collapsed into tents, or some variation of one, in serious need of sleep.
You gonna work, Joe? I don't know. I think so. Get there.
Nervous for the climb ahead, we debated just how hard it would be to cover 4,500 feet of elevation in just 12 miles. With an average grade of 8%, we were in for a beating and prepared for the worst. Then again, just one last hill to go.
Gotta hydrate. Tallest peak in the lower 48. I think there's bears here tomorrow. It's gonna be a Wednesday, and in my experience, hump days are great days to go up big mountains. Post dinner. Nice work, everyone. We've made it to the base. Now we will go to the top. Stay hydrated. Remember to put on sunscreen. Remember to eat snacks. And remember to smile. That's rule number one, okay?
So the last day was more of a celebration than anything. We invited some friends to join along, and it was awesome to introduce them into the new reality that we had discovered over the last 2 weeks.
We are about 500 Kelvin up here just baking.
Our desire to finish off the trip right was pulling us up the hill against gravity. Granted, we were totally taxed physically and mentally, or maybe beyond it. Like any adventure, this trip taught us a lot about ourselves and what we are truly capable of. Persistence, perseverance, dumb luck, true grit, and total joy. We were hardened by wind, bike seats, and cold water plunges, altitude, sun, and lengthy approaches. We laughed with and at each other and gave witness to the true beauty of the Sierra in a slow-paced, intimate way.
This is the last hill. It's all downhill from here.
Most importantly, we revived the youthful mindset in which adventure is an attitude, and that even from your own backyard, you can voyage through the portal and into the unknown.
One of the best trips ever. Thank you guys.
Yeah, guys.
You guys.
Savage journey.
Everybody. Yeah. BB.
And as for the last hill, well, looks like there might be another.
See gold.